Election chaos, red flags, irregularities, censorship, and now the Million MAGA March across the country. Things are getting crazy, y'all. Now, before we get into this, don't forget to like this video. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. It goes a long way with helping get the message out there, as well as share this video and hit the little notification bell if and when you do subscribe. Let's get into this. So despite the mountain of irregularities, I've got to be careful with what I say. Otherwise, I could be at risk of being taken down and or worse, censored and or I'm definitely going to get flagged. But I'm going to use the word voter irregularities. Despite the evidence that is out there, if you dare point it out, you will be flagged. The propaganda is so real that if you dare speak out against the official mainstream media narrative, your post will be flagged as a warning to all potential viewers to not trust or to be skeptical of the information even before they hear it. Even the last video that I did, cataloging the evidence of voter irregularities identified, was met with the following message. And I quote, "The AP has called the presidential race for Jim Crow Joe, everyone. Robust safeguards help ensure the integrity of our elections and results," end quote. And this wasn't just to small YouTube channels like mine. Oh no. They would flag all accounts, even that of White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, or should I say the post of her press conference. Officer Brandon Tatum was also flagged, as well as Anthony Brian Logan, aka ABL's page, was flagged. But guess who was not flagged? Remember this narrative that was pushed for the first 3.5 years of the Trump presidency of Russia-Trump collusion? I guess that fit the mainstream media's narrative, and they were okay with that and still are okay with it. But what did she say that didn't warrant the flag that everyone else got?
This week we saw cold, hard evidence of the Trump campaign, indeed the Trump family, eagerly intending to collude possibly with Russia, a hostile foreign power, to influence American elections. In the month, again, as we celebrate the courage of our founders, Republicans in Congress have become enablers of the Trump-Russia assault on our democracy. After these latest revelations, it's becoming clear we have suffered a desecration of our democracy not seen since Watergate.
We had to sit through 3.5 years practically of being hammered and told over and over again, whether it was, as you saw there with Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, that they had mountains of evidence of Russia collusion. And after years of talking about it, a Mueller investigation, an impeachment hearing, there was absolutely no evidence found of any Trump and Putin or Trump and Russia collusion in the 2016 election. And yet, you notice that there still is, to this day, even if this was a new policy, that video is still getting circulated on YouTube and there's no flag. We were told for years that our democracy was compromised. And now, all of a sudden, when the person you hated the most, or who the establishment hated the most, is presumably being removed and or defeated from the White House and presidency, now all of a sudden they're flipping the switch and saying that the elections are foolproof, without any fraud, without any, oops, I said the F word, without any irregularities. There's so much integrity, you can trust it now. Why? Because they seem to be getting the results that they want. And that just goes to show the level of blatant propaganda that's being put out there. They can claim for years voter irregularities and or election irregularities when it's charged against the anti-establishment candidate. But now when it's being hurled at the establishment candidate, oh, there's nothing to see here, folks. Despite the fact that we have mountains of evidence, and when we present it, they still try to say, oh, there's no evidence. No, there is. I don't know if anyone really knows what an affidavit is, because I was having this argument with, or not argument, but discussion with my brother. And I was saying, yes, there's evidence. And his response was, no, we have uncollaborated statements. And I think that they are really confusing what an affidavit is, because we right now have over 234 pages of affidavits signed by numerous individuals of voter irregularities. So what is an affidavit? If I had to just summarize it, it's essentially the same thing as being in court, swearing under oath in front of a judge, stating, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Because they're signing a statement, and it has to be signed by a notary, or has to be notarized, and they're swearing that the information that they're testifying to in this affidavit is correct and true. And there are penalties if it comes out to be that they are not telling the truth or somehow lying. They either face about a 5-year prison sentence on a federal charge. In many states, like where the majority of these affidavits are coming from right now, of the 234 pages, in Michigan on a state level, you're talking about a 10 to 15 year prison sentence. So if they are to believe that these affidavits are false and or are just made up stories, uncollaborated, you have to assume that this individual is willing to go to prison not only for 10 to 15 years, but even after giving up their freedoms and serving jail time after that 15 years of their life, then willing to live the life and accept the consequences of being a felon. For what? So these are affidavits. These are not just accusations being thrown out there. They do come with severe penalties if proven false. So there has to be some smoke, some fire to this smoke. And these affidavits are very specific. They're not just generalized statements. Some of the affidavits include statements like, I witnessed poll workers run ballots as many as 5 times with tape over the top of the ballot where the ballot number would normally be. You have other poll watchers in the state of Michigan, 6 eyewitnesses witnessing poll watchers enter in date of births for ballots that had none. One eyewitness saw 35, another saw as many as 46, manually enter date of births of January the 1st, 1900. January the 1st, 1900. Another report on the affidavit specifically identifies ballots being entered in despite the fact that there was no signature and the individuals were not even on the voter registration or poll books. Another sworn testimony in this affidavit has poll watchers observing other poll watchers running, duplicating ballots in order to run the same person in twice in 2 different precincts. You have another poll watcher flagged open envelopes where not only were the individuals not on any of the voter registrations there in Michigan, but the signature on about 60% of these envelopes that were observed were all identical. And also within the affidavit, you have the GOP poll watchers being forced away from the polling area while Democratic poll watch challengers were not. And not only were they forced away, in parts of Michigan, they went so far as to border up the windows so that the GOP poll challengers could not even see the counting being done. And then let's not forget about the postal workers there in Michigan revealed on Project Veritas, who wanted to stay anonymous, regarding how they were legitimately being told to post date a lot of these ballots, many of these ballots. That was just, and that's all just in Michigan, not to mention the Dominion software error that caused over 6,000 ballots to change from Trump to Biden, and also cost another Republican challenger at that time his seat, who conceded, only to have the recount done after the Dominion software error was somehow caught, to realize, oh snap, I won by 1,000 votes. And that's just in Michigan. And I didn't even get into all of the affidavits, not to mention the post affidavits all across the other parts of the country, like Pennsylvania. Shout out to Richard Hopkins, who came out and speaking in regards to what was happening at his postal office as a postal employee, also signed an affidavit saying, I heard my postmaster tell us or instruct to postmark the dates of the mail-in ballots to be counted. So despite all of the mountain of evidence, we're being flagged and told not to believe our own lying eyes, things that we're seeing. And again, I think there's a mischaracterization of what an affidavit is and how credible it is, as opposed to just a flying accusation without any consequences. Today, you have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of Trump supporters out marching in the Million MAGA March because they have legitimate concerns about the election process. And I'm going to say it looks like hundreds of thousands to me, but you have many who are going to try to downplay that number and say it was only 20,000, or try to say it was fewer than Barack Obama's inauguration. And then those on the ground who will say, yes, there were hundreds of thousands. So I digress, but it was a massive crowd. And you have millions of Americans across the country who have either seen or testified via sworn affidavits of voter irregularities and massive red flags that the media seems to want to ignore, and are being told to look the other way and accept the result without an honest attempt to even look at the irregularities and investigate the validity of them. And so these people are beyond frustrated and refuse to stay silent or take it lying down. We currently have a country severely divided and one side feeling cheated. And that is a rift that is almost beyond repair right now. I really feel as though 2020 is the red pill year. If not, this is going to be part of the red pill decade like we haven't seen since Woodstock in the 1960s revolution, because so many people's eyes are being woken up to a lot of the levels of corruption that is being exposed. I feel as though the mainstream media and social media and big tech have really overplayed their hand and really revealed themselves to the masses, because now you have millions, tens of millions of people who really feel uncomfortable with the information that they're being told about the process. And we're just at a very interesting tipping point in this country. So that's all I really had to say. That's the video. Tell me what you think in the comment section. If you agree with some of the things I'm saying, don't forget to support my content and this channel by liking this video. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed, and hit that little notification bell, because apparently subscriptions don't really mean that much to YouTube. And so you won't be notified of my latest content if you don't hit that notification bell as well. So don't forget to pop that. I want to thank you for staying through to this whole video. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks. I'm out. Peace.